And welcome to the Alpha Software Demo and Q&A webcast. I'm Dave McCormick, VP of Product Management here at Alpha Software. And today it is April Fool's Day, but I'm not going to be playing a joke on you. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because when I told a few people here about what I was going to be covering today, they said, "Oh, that's for April Fool's Day, right?" And I'm like, "No. Today we're going to be talking about Alpha 5. What? Alpha 5? That's like the predecessor of Alpha Anywhere, and frankly, hasn't really been supported by us in quite some time. The thing is, though, that quite a few people are still running Alpha 5 version 11. Some of them may be you, some of them may be your clients. You might have some applications still running in that. And as it turns out, that can actually be converted into Alpha Anywhere. But we often get asked, how do you go about doing that? The other thing, if you don't actually have this problem with needing to upgrade anyone from Alpha 5, you might be interested in this webinar. Also, because we're going to be talking about how you run basically any older software, which doesn't run on modern operating systems, on a modern operating system. So we're going to talk about that too. So first of all, can people hear me? Can you see my mouse moving around on the screen? More importantly, let me go ahead and see. The answer is yes. See my screen, hear my voice. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. All right, cool. So now we are going to take a trip back in time in the Alpha Software time machine with a destination 2011. That's about when version 11 actually came out. Interestingly, 2011 is 2 years before the man bun became popular. So that's just a little piece of trivia that you might want to take with you. So back then, first of all, I want to say that I absolutely love the Internet Archive and the Wayback Machine. We're going to be using it today as part of this. But back then, we had Alpha 5 version 11. And what we're going to talk about today is converting from that. So let's begin. We'll just dive right in. So first of all, you need to decide when you're looking at an Alpha 5 version 11 application, do you want to convert it at all? Or maybe you just simply want to rebuild it. In many cases, you might be taking a desktop app and converting it to a web application anyway, so there's no point in converting it. But you might have a desktop app that you want to convert to Alpha Anywhere as a desktop app, or an Alpha 5 version 11 web application that you want to convert also to an Alpha Anywhere web application. And you can do both of those things. So basically, here's the process. First, you find the files, the Alpha Anywhere files that are either on your computer, or maybe your client's computer, and you want to zip those up. So that's the file, that's the directory which has got the ADB. It's the one where you're in Alpha Anywhere and you say File, Open Workspace. That is the set of files. That is the directory you're looking for. So you're just going to make a copy of those. Make a zip of those, and then unzip that into a new folder. The reason is you want to leave the existing installation in place. You don't want to do any damage to that. Also, you might be using this on a different computer. So after that, you're going to install Alpha Anywhere, and you're going to open it. And then for the workspace, you're just going to choose the ADP file that you unzipped from the other thing. Now, in the case of a web application, what you're going to need to do is open each web component and then resave it. So you're just going to right-click on it, choose Edit, or I think double-click on it would be fine when you're in the Web Projects control panel. It's going to say, hold on a moment while I update this or make sure that it's compatible, so on. And then you're going to click Save. And you want to do that for each one of your web components. After that, go ahead and republish your web app, but first to a test location just to make sure that it works. And chances are pretty good that a lot of the things that you have done that have been created in version 11 are going to come over just fine. A couple of exceptions, we'll get to those a little bit later. But for the most part, this actually just usually works, which is terrific. But how do you know that it works? One way is to actually, can you see the old app in operation? So if this is on a client's computer, maybe you take a look at the client's computer and you make some notes and you say, okay, how does this work when I log in? What screen do I get first? What are the forms that I'm looking at? What are the reports and so on? Now, you don't usually have to worry very much about forms or reports or objects like that not converting. They usually convert just fine. but some of the automations that they may have built in may or may not work properly. Maybe they were using sort of older technology when they were built. So automation might be your auto exec script will probably still work, but if it was trying to call on a function that I can't really think of stuff, but let's just say stuff pops up, and so you want to take a look at it. The other thing is also you want to do just a double check sanity test to make sure that your old one and your new one are working the same. So how do you do that? Alpha 5 version 11 hasn't been around for some time. We stopped supporting it at least 5 years ago. Yeah, maybe more. So, and if you try to install it on a modern computer, like on Windows 10 or Windows 11, you're going to run into problems. And that's because it has some dependencies in the operating system that are no longer in these new versions. We have newer versions of .NET, for example, and so forth. So what you're best off doing is creating what's called a virtual machine. And a virtual machine will let you, skipping ahead, will let you basically run an older version of Windows, and then you can install Alpha 5 into that and open up your application. So the first thing you want to do if you want to do something like that is get hold of a copy of Windows. It is available at the Internet Archive, the Wayback Machine, the one I was telling you about before. So basically just do a Google search for the Internet Archive. And chances are, like if you're doing Windows 7, this is the version you're going to want. EN for English, Windows 7 Professional with Service Pack 1 for 64-bit, and then the rest of it. I think you don't have much of a choice here. I think that's always what it's called. And you can download it. It's about a 3 gig file, so fairly big, but not huge. Then you're going to decide on your virtual machine options. Are you going to run it on your own machine? In other words, you're going to spin up a virtual machine on your machine that you use, or do you want to do it on a hosted machine? So the hosted machine seemed actually kind of interesting to me, although I didn't go that route. And so you'll have a place like, for example, CloudZ. So CloudZ lets you run your own ISOs. So basically, the ISO that you downloaded from the Internet Archive, you can create a CloudZ account and spin it up and give it the ISO, and you will have a Windows 7 computer running that you can access online right through your browser. Seems like a cool solution. Now it says it's starting from $3.48, but that's very much like if people in the United States, if you're familiar with U-Haul and it says rent this truck for just $19.99, at the end of the day, it's always a lot more. So by the time you choose the option that you actually want, it's probably going to be about 35 bucks. This might be just fine for you if you want to do this and don't want to install your own virtual private machine. But around 35 bucks a month is what it would cost you to host that. Hosting it yourself, however, is not that hard. So I'm going to show you how we did that. So there are a couple of options. Actually, there are quite a few options, but one popular one is called VirtualBox. And this one is I believe it's open source. It is free. It's from Oracle. And you can choose what kind of VirtualBox you'd like to host. And so I chose Windows host. That was really simple. And then it asked me for and then after I installed it, it asked me for the ISO. And then I would have been off to the races, but unfortunately, my PC does not support virtualization. I have one that's just a little bit too old. Chances are yours does, but I would check before you do that. So instead I said, oh, that's fine. Maybe there's one I could run on my Mac because I use my Mac a lot. And there's another free one called UTM. So it lets you run operating systems on your Mac that aren't Mac operating systems. You can get this, if you're doing this on a Mac, you can get this at the App Store. For some reason, it's $10 at the App Store, whereas it's free to download here. And I think the App Store one is more limited, but who knows? Anyway, this one works just fine. So you'll download this, or I downloaded that, I should say, and got that running, and it was cool. Now, the other thing that's sort of interesting about UTM is that they also have a version that runs on iOS, because this is pure virtualization. It doesn't actually require the correct hardware. So both my Mac and iOS run on what's known as ARM architecture as opposed to x86 architecture. And so as a result, it needs to be fully emulated. But it works great on my Mac. I have a relatively recent Mac, and the hardware today is so much better than it was back in 2011 that even running it as an emulation, it runs really fast. Okay, so how do you go about installing Alpha Anywhere once you have your OS, your virtual machine in place with your operating system of Windows 7? So you're going to need a couple things. First, you're going to need to get hold of the Alpha 5 version 11 install file. And if you need one of those, because we do not put those up on the site, send us an email to guides, Guides, at alphasoftware.com. If you're doing a conversion project to Alpha Anywhere, we would be happy to provide that to you. The second thing is you're going to need a .NET 4. Now, the old Alpha 5 version 11 installer used to install this for you, but part of the process of the installation was that our installer would call out to Microsoft to get hold of the files it needed. Microsoft no longer hosts those files there. So the Alpha 5 version 11 install file is necessary, but not sufficient. You're also going to need to get the install, the net 4. I'll show you where to find that. The third thing is you might be missing some DLLs when you load. I think I've tracked down the ones that you need. I'll point out where they are, where to get them, and how to install them. So let's go ahead and show that to you. So for the Microsoft.NET framework, you can find that at microsoft.com/download details ASPX ID equals 17718. You can just see that up at the top of the screen. And that went ahead and installed just perfectly on my Windows 7 virtual machine. So no problem there. And then I installed the Alpha 5 version 11 patch. Although it says it's a patch, it's actually the full install. When we got to the part where it was going to install the .NET framework, it gives you an option. It says click OK to continue with it or cancel. And if you can, but it does also give you a note. If you have it already installed, you can safely hit cancel, and that's what I did. The last thing you're going to need is some of the missing DLLs. I believe I've tracked down just the only four. I'm still working on this right here. And they're called spell32, dzip32, dunzip32, and zlib. That might be zlib1, I'm not sure. But anyway, you'll know what these are because when you try to launch the Alpha Anywhere application, it's going to complain. And so once you put one in, sometimes it then complains about another one, I believe this is the complete list at this point, but if you're having issues, send an email to guides@alphasoftware.com. I can probably point you in the right direction. All right, so that's what I wanted to cover today. I think it was kind of a whirlwind. I did it in about 15 minutes. There are a couple final notes. First of all, if you are running a desktop-only version of Alpha Anywhere, or your client needs a desktop-only version because they've decided for whatever reason they don't want to go to web or they don't want you to convert it to web, possibly understandable, we do make a desktop-only version of Alpha Anywhere that is a little bit less expensive than if you were purchasing the full version. The other thing is that runtime availables for desktop are still available to this day. We still make them, and you can get them from us. The next thing is just a real technical note. When I talked to a couple of the developers here when I put together this presentation, just to make sure, are there any other gotchas? And for the most part, there aren't. But there is one. If you're using something called grid linkers to link two grid components together, those have been removed. And we have a much better way to do that. So what you want to do is look up, if you are using these, look up linked content sections or row expanders in our documentation for guidance on how to replace your grid linkers with a slightly more modern technology. All right, that is what I wanted to cover today. Let me go ahead and take a look in the questions box to see if there are any questions. Questions. Oh, here's a great question. it said, one person said, oh, the only real reason to move from a well-working version of V11 to AA is SSL hashes. Okay, that's a perfectly good reason. There are some other ones as well, and we have that in our documentation. We actually have a what's new in if you do a search, or even if you do an AI search now and say, hey, what's new in Alpha Anywhere that isn't new in Alpha 5 version 11, you'll actually see quite a lot of stuff that we've done, and we promoted that in marketing materials, well, probably about 10 years ago. So if you want to maybe talk a client into moving up, you take a look through those features, and that's another one. Let me take a look here at more questions. If you don't have the original project, but just the published system, so I'm going to guess this, we're talking web projects here. So in other words, if you just have the original project, but just what's been published to your server, someone says, I suppose you are hooped. I've never come across that as a term before, but it sounds like a bad thing. Yeah, that would be a bad thing. What you publish up into your onto the file server is not the complete project. You're missing lots of stuff, and you won't really be able to recover it from there. At that point, if it's still working, my best advice would be take a survey of what it does, but you're probably going to have to recreate something like that. Okay, other questions? Oh my gosh, we have 1,000 questions here today. This is great. Okay. What if I have the project, but I can't find the version 11 installer? Send an email to guides@alphasoftware.com. I will hook you up. Upsize Genie is, oh yeah, this is great. The Upsize Genie is also worth mentioning to go from DBF to SQL. Thank you, that's a good point. There, if you are running on DBFs still, and you're trying to go to a web application or something like that, it's really much better to go to SQL. You might also do the same for a desktop application, in which case you can use active tables to connect to SQL. And built into Alpha Anywhere is something called the Upsize Genie. Go ahead and Google that. You can just look that up in our documentation. My PC right now is not running, so otherwise I'd point out where you would find it. But the Upsize Genie basically will take the DBFs that are in your project and convert them to SQL for you, which is really cool. Last question. Is there a bulk action to do all of the components at once? I don't think so, but I don't think there is. So I know some of you have probably got 100 of them, so that's going to be a pain, but that's it. Someone says AA still launches with alpha5.exe. Yeah, I don't know why they never bothered to change the name of the exe, because probably they thought only developer geeks like us would ever go looking for it. All right. Wow, that looks like it. Wonderful. Hey, thanks very much. If you have other questions, or you think of things, or you run into issues in your conversion project, get in touch with us. Send an email to guides, GUIDES, @alphasoftware.com. Thank you very much today, and I hope that you enjoyed our trip through the Wayback Machine. Take care. Until next time, bye-bye.